I am better at bowling than my mother. Georgiana is worse than Angelica at backgammon. And we learned that we use more or less before two or more syllable comparative adjectives. Okay, look at these examples. This movie is more interesting than that movie. Next example. This match is less exciting than that match. There is one more thing that we should learn. We need to learn that for two or more syllable adjectives that end in Y, in the comparative adjective form, we must drop the Y and add I, E, R instead of the Y. Here are some examples. So pretty, which ends in Y, in its comparative form becomes prettier, no Y, I-E-R. My aunt is prettier than your aunt. Another example. Busy, in its comparative form, becomes busier. So instead of Y, we add I-E-R. My father is busier at his new job than he was at his old job. Another example. Tidy becomes tidier in its comparative form. So we change the Y and add I-E-R. Sam's bedroom is tidier than his brother's. Okay, now let's practice some more. Linda, is your sister prettier than you?
She is sometimes prettier than me. When we go to bullfights, she is always very beautiful.
Thank you, Linda. Sylvia, is your room tidier than your brother's?
No, his room is tidier than my room. My room is dirty.
Oh, can you spell tidier, Sylvia?
Sure. T-I-D-I-E-R, tidier.
Great. Alberto, are you friendlier than your cousin?
I think so. I am friendlier than my cousin. She is sometimes angry. I am always happy.
Oh, that's good. Will you spell friendlier for us, Alberto?
F-R-I-E-N-D-L-I-E-R, friendlier.
All right, good, Alberto. Now, of course, friendly is an adjective. However, it's a little special because it has two forms of the comparative. We can say friendlier, or we can say more friendly. Okay, are you more friendly than your brother, Sylvia?
I am more friendly than my brother. Are there any different adjectives like friendly?
Yes, there are. Students, you know the word angry. Linda, you and your sister lost the tennis match yesterday. Who was angrier?
She was angrier than me. She was more angry. She plays tennis to win. I played for fun.
All right, great job, everyone. Thank you. Now it's time to look and listen.
Look and listen.
Mark is more handsome than Alvin. Alvin is less handsome than Mark. This street is noisier than that street. That street is less noisy than this street.
Read and repeat.
look at a chart to help you remember the comparative forms ER, IER, and more. Take a look at your screen. Val is 25 years old. Liz is 20 years old. So Val is older than Liz. Notice, when we use adjectives to talk about two people or things, the adjectives have special forms. So in the sentences, we add ER to an adjective. Here are some more examples. Health is very important. Money is important, but health is more important than money. So notice, when we use adjectives to talk about two people or things, the adjectives have special forms. In these sentences, we use more in front of the adjective. Than follows the comparative forms. Now here is another chart about adjectives. Please take a look. Okay, adjectives with one syllable. We have, for example, young. In its comparative form, it becomes younger. And cheap becomes cheaper. However, tall, notice the spelling, in its comparative form, it becomes taller. Remember, adjectives that end in one vowel and one consonant must have their consonant doubled. So you double the consonant. Here are some more examples of that. Big becomes bigger with two G's. Next, thin becomes thinner with two N's. Also, fat becomes fatter with two T's. And hot becomes hotter with two T's. Let's look at adjectives that end in Y. We have noisy. In its comparative form, it becomes noisier. So notice we changed the Y to IER. Next example, dirty. Same thing, becomes dirtier. Instead of Y, we add IER. So adjectives that end in Y always change the Y to an I and then add ER. Now let's look at adjectives with two or more syllables. For example, famous becomes more famous in the comparative. Important becomes more important. Interesting becomes more interesting. Remember, use more or less in front of adjectives with two or more syllables. Now let's look at irregular forms. For example, the adjective good, in its comparative form,